What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hello.
And Carrie.
What's up?
We are back after a normal week of respite. 1 out of 3 ain't bad. If I was a Major League Baseball player, I would be leading the league in hitting with that.
It's true.
With that batting average. We're truly in low news time of the year. We're here. I didn't think we'd get here, considering that the news didn't stop during the traditional periods last year as well. But the news is mild, and we still got some game impressions, and then we have some post officing to catch up on, because we only read a couple of questions last week. So we're gonna go back and read what we missed, as well as what has been in there since last week. Just a bit of housekeeping before we start. As per usual, we are just one show amidst many shows in the TNP Media Network. So make sure that you check out all of the other TNP Studio shows wherever you download fine podcast. If you don't do the whole podcast thing and you're like, hey, I want to watch you guys in video format, good news. You can go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe there, because we post this podcast in video format every week. If you want to support us financially, you can use our Amazon link going to densepixels.com/Amazon, or even better, you can sign up to be a premium member for just $5 a month or $50 a year by going to densepixels.com/premium to get access to the premium slate of TNP Studio shows, including the weekly full episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. 2024 is a presidential election year here in the US of A, so it is going to be a bonkers show all year long on Look Forward with me and Jay. So again, densepixels.com/premium. I want to get the news out of the way again, just because, again, there's not a lot of news. And the first one will be a fun news story that we can all have a good whack at the pinata with. So we didn't talk about last week or the week before. But if you felt a pall, or if you felt like a dark presence suddenly lift from the gaming industry a couple of weeks ago at the turn of the new year, that's because Bobby Kotick, former CEO of Activision Blizzard, is no longer there after the acquisition with Microsoft closed. He informed Microsoft that he would leave his post at the end of the calendar year 2023. And he did that. And I think he got something like a $15 million payout on the way out the door. Nice work if you can get it. But Bobby Kotick is finally gone. And it did not take long when the removal of consequences resulted in the knives coming straight for Bobby Kotick's back. And you love to see it. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. You fucking love to see it. A former programmer, Christina Pollock, who worked at Activision Blizzard for 2 years through a contractor, said, quote, "Bobby Kotick's decisions made our games worse. I worked on Call of Duty for 2 years as a programmer. Bobby's decisions made our games worse. In my first month, it came out he threatened to have an employee killed. In the all-hands, all-staff meeting that followed, nobody wanted to speak first, so I demanded his firing in front of everybody. I get that I'm very loud and annoying, and that with my seniority and ease of other opportunities, that affords me certain protections and safety to do such things, but you all need to get aboard this train. We need to revolt against people like this every time." They were the far from the only person to really fire out there. Andy Belford, who is also a former Activision community manager, or actually, I think he's a current Activision community manager. I think he currently still works for Blizzard and is Overwatch's community manager. He said, "I'm going to break my silence to share a fun fact. When we planned Overwatch 2's Steam launch, my team warned months in advance that we were going to be review bombed. We begged for more information, more details, and more resources to help us with the anticipated influx, all flatly denied. Moderation of Steam was put on the community team, which is not a function of community at Blizzard, despite my refusal to want to expose members of my team to that level of toxic content and posts. When asked whose decision it was to launch on Steam with no additional help, it was Bobby's." There was a quote that Tim Schafer gave in an interview a couple of years ago that resurfaced that I had not seen before, where he talked about the reason that he didn't like Bobby Kotick, and he had good reason to, because Activision backed out on a deal to publish Brutal Legend. And then when EA went to publish it, Activision sued to try to block the publishing of the game, even though they had no plans to publish it themselves. And the way Tim Schafer described Bobby Kotick was the fact that he basically, like, he tried to treat the game industry like it was a widget maker, essentially. And you know, and when you're a widget making company, you want to just boil things down to the most banal, most soulless, you know, most profitable product that you can, and damn the rest of it. Like nothing else matters. Like, you're just trying to get this very competent product out the door, and doesn't matter how people feel about it. You don't care about consumers. You don't care about the people that work there. You're just trying to make money. That's all you're trying to do. And that was his viewpoint on Bobby Kotick as a video game CEO, despite the fact that Kotick worked in the games industry for more than 30 years. Like, he's been the CEO of Activision since the early 1990s. And that, I mean, that I can't sum it up better than that. $15 million payout or not, I am so happy that he's gone, and I cannot wait until he opens a Republican super PAC sometime in the next 4 to 5 months, because that's exactly what that dude is going to do. I guarantee.
There's a fine line when making art for profit, right? Because, like, inherently, like, yeah, you want art to be pure, but, like, if you got to feed your family, like, it is a product, and the line can be skirted, right? It is possible to make worthwhile art and make money off of it, but you know, apparently this guy is just like, art be damned. Like, I don't see what you're slaving over, what you're crunching for as art. It's a fucking product. And I hate when people refer to like art as products. I can't stand it. But apparently this couldn't have happened to a bigger asshole. Like, and I get it, right? Like, it might seem like these people are like, you know, well, he's gone now, so why didn't you say it to his face? Like, that's a dumb
I mean,
argument,
that's the thing.
right?
It's like, I'm sure they did say it to his face. It's like, as was said, you know, the first
As the first person
the
said,
developer,
right.
yeah, Christina Pollock literally was like, "Fuck this dude!" Like, like we need to fucking take a stand against this, and it sucks that, you know, they weren't backed up on that. I mean, I think the quote in this article that stands out to me is the one at the end, which is just the culture Kotick bred at Activision Blizzard was that shit flowed downstream, usually landing on the lowest paid and most overworked individuals. Management was too busy reacting to wildly vacillating direction and decisions that made zero sense. And at the end of everything, player experience and worker experience meant nothing to C-suite and executive leadership. It was all about the quarter earnings call. Fuck him. Hope he gets hit by a bus.
I would, you know, I know Marvel's doing this whole what if, you know, animated stuff right now, and people are talking about that. What if
Bobby Kotick got hit by a bus?
Well, I mean, that's a great what if. That could still actually happen. Look, I'm not saying that I'm going to try to will that into existence, but I'm just saying if Bobby Kotick stepped off a curb.
It's the new year. We are manifesting here on the Dense
by a bus,
podcast.
I wouldn't be that upset about it. What if Activision didn't stumble onto Call of Duty? I'd be curious to see a universe in which that didn't happen, only because that was truly like the tentpole that propped up the company's earnings for really the last 15 years or so. And people forget about this because it's very easy to for a lot of other stuff to flow under the bridge, but they've had a lot of like misses as well over the years too. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they've backed that they've tentpoled that has not worked out well, and they've had other stuff that did. I mean, Destiny obviously started under the Activision publishing label and was very successful until Activision tried to meddle with the game and and kind of remold it in their vision. But it would be just curious to see, like, if Call of Duty never became what Call of Duty is. And I don't think Activision would have taken that lying down per se. Like, I think they would have just gone out and acquired like other studios with established IPs. But I'm curious to see who those studios would have been and what would have happened to those studios' IPs in the wake of Activision meddling. So
you don't think it would have gone the way of the other studio that starts with AC? Acclaim?
No, I think that in this day and age, like the big publishers that are still around today are almost too big to fail. But the other commonality that those publishers have is they have that one tent pole that's keeping up the rest of the publishing house. Like EA has, FIFA Ultimate Team that's, breaking in $1.5 billion a year for them, and and all the other major players all have these tent pole games to get there. So it's just an interesting thought experiment because it would have changed gaming quite a bit, I think.
I think the more interesting what if would have been what if Activision wasn't headed by Bobby Kotick for 30 years. I'm serious, man. Like, because like in order to be successful in the corporate world, like you think of all the corporations out there, you got to be an asshole, man. Like you have to be an asshole, and you can't it's not a facade that you can just put on. Like you have to be born with the asshole gene, right? And there are different types of assholes, right? But like you got to be one. And you got to be a dickhead because that's how capitalism works. I'm curious. I'm just curious to know what like this guy or not, he impacted the video game industry, for better and much worse. But I'm very curious to see how things shake out. I'm also a little bit curious about him, just a little bit. Like I want to see where he ends up. You know what I mean? I want to see what he does. These guys they take their asshole nature, with them, and will he make something? Will he be a part of something else that's successful? I don't know. Will he just sit around and be rich and mind his fucking business? I doubt it.
I think he will get into something because I think that if his goal was to sit around and be rich, I think he would have cashed that check about 10 years ago when Call of Duty was at its zenith. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he only looks like he's like 60.
He's got to be probably in his early 60s if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Bobby Kotick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to imagine that guy he's under 65. I guarantee
He was born in 1963. So that means he is 61.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's nothing. That's nothing, especially if you're rich.
Yeah. No, I think he absolutely will end up somewhere else. I don't think it's going to be anything to do with gaming. Like I don't think so. Yeah, even though that's his area of expertise, he didn't give a shit about this industry.
No, he
not any further. Yeah, not any further than he'll make money off of it.
Right. He'll find another product that and I think people kind of lose that also with assholes. Like assholes generally don't give a shit about what they're in charge of, right? Like they're really good at making money. And you could put them in any situation, almost any situation. And if they're good at making money, they're good at making money. So fandom has a weird romanticism with the things that they love, and they assume that, well, if you're making it, you must love it, and everyone up the chain of command must love it. Like no, it's a job for them, especially like not comic book people, like these new age nerds who watch all these superhero movies and they think, oh my gosh, Chris Evans was the perfect Captain America. He must have read Captain America when he was a child. No.
I mean, a lot of the actors that are involved in the film adaptations, will once they'll cast,
do their research.
They'll do their research for the role because they're not dummies.
Right.
But I think by and large, you have a lot of folks who didn't fucking read comic books as kids being cast as characters. Same thing with like, video game characters and whatnot. I don't believe for one second that Chris Pratt is a huge fucking Super Mario fan.
Right. Like he's our age. He played Mario as a child.
Yeah.
That's it. He didn't know Charles Martinet's name, and if he did, he would probably pronounce it Martinet, just like every other person that doesn't know how to fucking because it's.
Meanwhile, Ben Schwartz absolutely is a fucking dork-ass idiot and loves Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm glad he voices Sonic the Hedgehog. I've seen that dude's Twitter. That dude, he's a fucking... That dude's a dork. So I think, but by and large,
But I think some of that goes back to what you were, in a roundabout way to what you were saying, Michael, where people, like, you don't like art to be thought of as products. I don't think fans want to think of the things that they love as products either. And I think that belief that people up and down the creative chain have that same passion for that thing is projecting desire.
Yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, the people at the top of the capitalism food chain that runs the game industry only see these things as lines on a sheet.
Yep.
That's it. They're probably, a lot of these people are not playing these games. To be fair, many of them are, but many of them don't. And like, that's fine. I don't necessarily want someone who, is more of a gamer than a business person to be running the business. I want someone with the business experience to be running the business.
Right. But at the same time, like you said, they only see them as lines on a sheet, which is why they can easily kill careers.
Oh,
and that's not good either, right? So you need a balance, man. But the problem is if you have that balance, you're not getting $15 million to leave. They're not paying you $15 million to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
And that's in addition to whatever stock payout he gets as well, I would imagine.
Right.
So, to whatever options he was holding. So, that's again, happy to see him leave. Could not be happier, and I think that'll be a positive for Activision Blizzard as a whole, just not having him around making decisions. Like Matt Booty's a guy that seems a bit more dialed into, how the game industry should run than a Bobby Kotick. So, we'll take a quick break actually, and then we will be back with some more news stories. All right, so here, mark this down as I didn't realize this hadn't happened before until this story came out. But apparently, NES Tetris had never been beaten until
the kill screen had never been reached
until just last week. Where a 13-year-old boy, Willis Gibson, who's a competitive Tetris player, basically triggered the NES Tetris kill screen, which of course is not a traditional game over screen, but for arcade games back in the day, for you kids that don't remember that, that was the unofficial end of the game, when the game literally could not output anymore because you had dominated it. So
it's literally it becomes a data overflow. There's, I think the most famous kill screens are basically Donkey Kong and Pac-Man are the two big ones, because those are the two that are kind of the most contested. I was half expecting Billy Mitchell to submit a VHS tape after this kid said that he beat Tetris. I'm glad I got you on that
pretty
one.
Good. That's pretty good. Oh man, it's not bad. See, it took him 38 minutes, where he reached level 157, which NES Tetris, I don't remember getting anywhere past level 13. That's my level of skill in NES Tetris. And he obviously maxed out the score counter at 999, which is the maximum that it could attain. Yeah, NES Tetris is much harder for those that don't realize, because now in the current modern age, and I'm of course a Tetris connoisseur, a multiple time Tetris 99 winner on this podcast. in new modern Tetris, we play on baby mode, where you have the ability, as long as you keep rotating the piece as it's falling, the next piece will never drop. It only drops when you actually like lock the piece into the formation. And I will admit that there are certainly some times where when the action is fast and you need just a second to breathe and kind of scope out your next moves, like I'll sit there and just fucking rotate a Z block up until the point, so I can analyze and see what the next couple pieces and figure out what my next couple moves are. Especially in Tetris 99, when you get down to those last couple of people, when you're trying to hang in there, you want to delay the inevitable as much as possible. But NES Tetris does not have that ability. As soon as the block hits the formation, it's locked in, and the next one's coming down at you. So this skill would take incredibly fast reflexes, precision. It's a very impressive feat overall. The fact that a 13-year-old did it boggles my mind. These fucking kids these days are insane gamers. He couldn't believe that he did it. He said he didn't realize that you that you could. He didn't expect to crash the game or beat it. And of course, the run also set world records for overall score, level, lines cleared, and 19 score, whatever that is. So congratulations to Willis Gibson. That's quite the impressive feat, knocking down the OG Tetris from back in the day.
Unfortunately, I heard about this story for all the wrong reasons.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but I didn't know if anyone had a connection to the very unfortunate boomer Sky News anchor who had to pee on a 13-year-old's parade.
I don't always, look, I've worked in media, right? Like I have a family history of people who work in media. And I know a lot of people who work in professional media. So like I don't like coming after media people, but this bitch on Sky News, like I genuinely hope she's taken off the air for a little while, because this is so wildly unprofessional of her. Like this is, it's a notable thing. This is something that's literally never been done before, right? And by a 13-year-old.
Notable enough that they felt it worth mentioning on Sky News.
Notable enough to be covered on Sky News.
Right.
And this woman, fucking Sandra, some Karen,
Sandra,
right?
What's
fucking,
her face?
Yeah.
Sandra, what's her face?
God, yeah, just literally saying beating Tetris is not a life goal, and informing this kid that he should step away from the screen and go outside to get some fresh air. I'm like, fucking embarrassing, especially within like the same segment. Like, she was covering like a 16-year-old darts player, as if darts is somehow as if darts is somehow. I'm not saying darts isn't difficult. Darts is really fucking difficult to play at a high level, but like to somehow say that one of these is inherently more valuable than the other in terms of its skill. Like, no, they're both recretional activities that are being mastered by young people.
They're both indoor skills that use hand-eye coordination.
Right?
Like, what the fuck? Go out to get out the pub, child.
If anything, Tetris at that kind of level, once the blocks really start coming down, like split second, like you have maybe 2 frames to fucking react, like requires a higher level of hand-eye coordination and reactionary kind of skills,
dexterity and
right,
that sort of thing. And that's the thing. Like it is a very and I don't think this presents. I think this presenter's too young to actually be a boomer. Like she's probably a Gen Xer, but it's a boomer mentality of that whole like, oh, video games are toys. Like a very myopic and frankly an outdated view of the world. Like that's someone who does not understand that a 19-year-old Fortnite champion won $3 million a couple of years ago, being the best Fortnite player in the world. Doesn't understand the amount of money, the amount of prestige that's out there in competitive video gaming. To her, again, it's just a child's toy. That's a waste of time, and you could be doing much more productive things. Like literally, she said told this kid, like through the screen, step away from the screen and go outside, and that beating Tetris is not a life goal. Like that's
fuck you.
Yeah, fuck off, basically.
She can get hit by the same bus that's coming from Bobby Kotick. for all I care.
Oh my god.
I'm just manifesting bus accidents here this year. It's fine.
Sorry, I'm just typing down "get hit by a bus" as a potential show for this week. So. Oh my gosh! Hopefully, I can find that frame from whatever Final Destination movie that was. That
Final Destination 1.
Of course,
Final Destination 1.
Of course, you know that. How am I not surprised?
It's one of the best deaths in that entire series because it comes out of nowhere.
Actually, you know what? I think Regina George might actually be even better.
Ooh, that's a good one.
An even better screen grab. If we're talking about get hit by buses, so.
And you alt tag that image right, you might hit the SEO right since that the new movie's coming out.
Oh,
right?
it's true. So, that's true.
Got that marketing brain on.
What does this have to do with Mean Girls? Not a damn thing. I just wanted eyes
not
on
a
my,
damn thing.
I just wanted eyes on our video. Like, of course you fucking knew. I like I didn't even think that you would know, but the fact that you know is not surprising at all.
Of course, I've seen every one of those movies. I absolutely love them. Well, I love 2 of them.
2 out of the 10 that
2 out of
probably
the
exist?
5.
Okay,
2
it's
out
only
of
5. Glad they were able to restrain themselves. So I feel like we've probably talked about Star Citizen in passing once or twice on this show because this has been a saga that's going on for many years. But a lot of you might not know what Star Citizen is. Star Citizen is this like gigantic open galaxy like space sim. Like if you're like, oh, it's like No Man's Sky. No, it purports to be bigger than like think more on the lines like EVE Online. Like that's kind of what Star Citizen is going for, to have a truly livable galaxy space where you can do anything and go anywhere and this or the other thing. Star Citizen is also kind of a running joke in the games industry because the game has been in development for literally more than 10 years and has raked in over $500 million of direct funding from players. And the game still hasn't technically released yet. Like it's still technically in development. And you can play various like development builds of the game, but it has not actually launched like a final product. And Star Citizen is notable for charging people obscene amount of money for stuff that you could acquire in the game, and they have just outdone themselves yet again. So the developers of Star Citizen have announced a new DLC pack that you can buy in the year 2024 for Star Citizen, and it's called the Legatus 2953 Ship Pack. And
it's 175 ships. 175
ships
that are all digital and only usable within the context of the game Star Citizen. Should be noted.
Yep. And it's a quick and easy way to get every single ship that exists in Star Citizen without having to worry about like building it or buying it yourself or this other thing. And you, curious player who wants all the ships in Star Citizen, can buy this for the low price of 48,000 real United States dollars today. Like you could go out and you could buy this ship pack today for a cool nearly 50 grand.
I think microtransactions have gone a little bit too far.
Micah, don't fret. Don't fret. Because you think that the developers of Star Citizen are being wholly irresponsible by offering this. However, no Joe Six-Pack, no Johnny Come Lately can just walk in off the street and buy this $48,000 pack. No, Micah, because only Chairman's Club members of Star Citizen are even eligible to purchase this pack. And the way that you become a Chairman's Club member is you have to spend over $1,000 in Star Citizen of real money to even be eligible to buy such a grand prize as the Legatus or Legatus 2953 ship pack.
For the privilege of,
right.
of buying this fucking thing.
Yes.
Man, like, I wonder if marketers have to take like have to get psychology degrees, right? Because like this is like it's you. There's something about the human like psyche that's like, it's going back to capitalism, right? Like I need to make sure that I'm the one on top, right? By spending more money. You got to spend money to make money. Not like this. Like what? Uh, hey man, if you got that kind of money to spend to kind of throw away on something like this, donate it. I'm not gonna say more power to you. I'm just gonna say donate it. Like just give it away. Give it away.
To
Because
me.
this is not because this is not worth it. It's just not. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Again, like this whole game has been a running joke in the industry because like is this actually just like a fucking long con by this like the dude who heads the studio just to get like a fuck ton of money and just basically like drip out this like minimum viable product? I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what's happening. I'm just saying that that's what other people have said might be the case. So
Oh my God, man.
and it sucks too because like if you are someone who has like put a significant amount of money into Star Citizen, normally you would take the money you spent and write it off and get the fuck out of there. But again, the people that have done this are probably suffering from like sunk costs syndrome where they're just like, oh, I've already invested all this money, like if I leave now it's a complete waste. And so people like will stay in much longer than they should on something that probably should not have any level of support behind it at this point, considering it's been 12 years and $600 million, and just a shitload of money just thrown down the drain on this game that probably is never coming out. Or if it does come out, it's probably it's not going to be the day before. Like it's not going to be one of those things, but it's going to be like not what was promised for sure. Like think No Man's Sky times like 100, and that's kind of where we're at with Star Citizen. And I don't think they'll have the same redemption arc. So terrible. Before another break, I will quickly talk about a game that I've been playing. A new game. It's called Chants of Sennar. Chants like chanting, not like random luck or anything like that. And this is a puzzle game, and it's a puzzle game around languages. The whole crux of the game is you are talking to people, and you see, carvings and signs and stuff like that have a language written on them, and you have to basically decipher what the language, like what the words are, using the context of the language that's being presented to you. Like you can see what people are referring to and things of that nature, and you're trying to puzzle together like what the symbols mean and what words they translate to. But then when you move to a new area in the game, they speak a completely different language. So now you're trying to link in the context of the language that you had already learned to the new stuff that you're trying to learn, and you're trying to basically piece all this together. The story is a parable for the Tower of Babel story, which is and the game takes place in a tower that you're doggedly ascending. I liked this game for the first couple hours that I played it, but then once I got to the third area, the gameplay just kind of rubbed raw a little bit, and I don't know, it just kind of lost its luster. Like it held my attention for 2 or 3 hours, but it got a little repetitive. Also, some of the puzzles are a little frustrating because it's not always like 100% clear what someone's referring to. And a lot of the puzzles too can be solved I've brute forced a couple of the words to figure out what they meant and unlocked it that way, which seems not in the spirit of how the game is supposed to be played, which also kind of bothers me a little bit. And so as a result, I kind of bounced off of this one after a couple hours in. It made a lot of folks around the industry's Game of the Year list, as far as like top 10s and stuff like that. So I wanted to give it a shot. And I like puzzle games and things of that nature. But this one just didn't click with me. But if that sounds interesting, like if a puzzle game based around language sounds intriguing to you, I think there's a demo available. Might be worth checking out. For me, it just did not hold my attention past the first couple zones. So Chants of Sennar, not a big one for me.
I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm going to say it anyway. Would this game be more interesting to you if it was an actual language? Like a language that you could actually learn?
I don't think
Like,
so. You know what I mean? Like the lack of practicality in the language, it wasn't the problem. And you're not deciphering like an entire, like an entire dictionary of language. Like basically each language you're figuring out like 20 to 30 words, like in the meanings of those essentially. And you could tie them to pictures and stuff like that, like your little journal that your character is writing in, kind of has pictures, and that's how you actually link the symbols to what they're trying to convey. It does interesting things. Like I don't think it's a bad game. I just don't think it's a game for me, because one of the other things that makes the game difficult is, as you, not only do people use different symbols for different words when you go to the other areas, but their syntax is different. Like how sentences are structured are different as well. So like, whereas the first people might use the traditional, like, to put it in like real world terms, whereas the first area might use like a traditional, like, noun verb, or, noun, or, verb adjective noun structure in a sentence. The other one might have a completely, reverse syntax where they put like the adjective at the end of the sentence and things of that nature. So like that part was interesting. And I think the game is solid. I just don't think it's a game that clicked with me. I think it could click with other people, and judging by the amount of praise that the game's gotten, I think it has. I just am not one of them. So.
okay.
Cool. So we'll take another break, and then Carrie will regale us of tales from the world of one Sonic the Hedgehog. All right, so Carrie, you attended a little concert over the weekend. Why don't you tell us all about that?
Yeah, so currently the Sonic Symphony is touring mostly the United States. So I think they have some Canada dates as well. I saw it in San Francisco. It was really good. It was really good. Now you can go on YouTube right now and you can type in Sonic Symphony and you can see the 30th anniversary symphony performance from 2021, which was just streamed online. And that was great. And that's very much the basis for this touring show. Now the set list is not exactly the same. A lot of the stuff that was on the 30th anniversary set list was not on the set list for this. I was a little bummed that we didn't get the Sonic R medley because Sonic R has great music. I really wanted to hear Can You Feel the Sunshine, and we didn't get it, but it's fine. Basically there are two halves of this show. The first half is just the orchestra, and then during the second half you sort of have like a rock band come out, and you get all like the fun vocal themes from Sonic. So the first half, you got your Sonic medley, you got your Sonic 2 medley, you got your Sonic CD medley, which was fun. From Sonic 3, they didn't do a full medley, but they did play Sky Sanctuary. Sonic 3 is a ripper of a soundtrack, so there's really no wrong choice of single song from Sonic 3 to pick, in my opinion. They did Sonic Mania, they did a Chow medley, so like a couple of the themes from like the Chow Gardens from the adventure games.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh yeah. Those are, it's like their little sort of like virtual pet mini game, like generally optional. They did Rooftop Run from Sonic Unleashed. Again, Sonic Unleashed, mediocre game, incredible fucking soundtrack. They did Aquarium Park with Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors, and they did a Sonic Frontier medley. They also did a genuinely beautiful rendition of Believe in Myself, which is Tails' theme, and It Doesn't Matter, which is Sonic's theme from Sonic Adventure. Literally brought me to tears. Like, I was not expecting to be like moved, by the Sonic Adventure music, but I was just like, ugh, it got me in like my fucking honey nut Felios. And then they brought out, like the rock band, and the live band. It's a lot of the dudes from the video game orchestra, which is like VGO has been around for a long time. And this was also the same band that did the Shin Megami Tensei concert in LA last year. I was going to say earlier this year. It's fucking January. They did it last summer. And the orchestra stayed out, so I really like a rock band with orchestral elements. So it was really good. They did Endless Possibility Endless Possibility and Reach for the Stars, both from Sonic Colors. They did Fist Bump from Sonic Forces. They did His World from Sonic 06. Here's the thing about the Sonic Symphony is it makes Sonic 06 look like a really good game, which is so funny because that game stinks. But to see, the way that the cutscenes are presented and all this other stuff and just really well done, because you've got a huge screen with the game footage on it, like you have at all of these video game orchestral shows, right? And to the live vocals and whatnot. So the vocals for the show, by the way, were done by Casey. I forget her last name. I'm gonna look it up. Casey Williams, who's previously done vocals for the Ruby, RWBY, that online web series. She's done songs for that. She's exceptionally talented, and she absolutely nailed all of these songs. And then Jun Sonoe, who's been one of the lead composers on the Sonic franchise overall since Sonic Adventure. He most notably was the lead composer for Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2. He's also been the lead composer on Sonic Heroes, Sonic and the Black Knight. He was the lead composer for Shadow the Hedgehog. He's also he's Mr. Crush 40, right? It's him and fucking Johnny Gioeli are the Crush 40 dudes. Unfortunately, we didn't get Johnny on this show. He's been at some of the other shows, and I think he's scheduled to be at some other shows in the future on this tour. So we didn't get the full Crush 40 experience, but they did play What I'm Made Of from Sonic Heroes, Open Your Heart from Sonic Adventure, Night of the Wind from Sonic and the Black Knight. They did I Am All of Me from Shadow the Hedgehog, which was it was a pretty big pop off to just be in this orchestra symphony hall with 3,000 other people all singing I Am All of Me at the top of their lungs. It very much turned into a rock show in the back half. They also did a bunch of stuff from Sonic Frontiers. In addition to the orchestral medley, they did both Break Through It All and Undefeatable, which are two of the big boss themes from Frontiers. And then the encore was Escape from the City and Live and Learn. Regardless of what you think about Sonic as a game, I think everyone can agree that Sonic historically has had consistently some of the best music across video games. Doesn't matter what system it's on, it doesn't matter what era we're in, Sonic music rips and has always ripped. And I think this show's a real testament to that. So if you check the fucking Symphony website and you see it's coming near you, I would strongly recommend that you go check it out. Also, I got to meet Jun Sonoe in the lobby before the show. He's real nice. It was a treat. So
I know listeners are probably expecting me to turn around and shit all over anything Sonic related as is on brand, but it's a new year, new me. Not gonna
instead you'll piss on it.
Yeah. No. I even noted card carrying Sonic the Hedgehog hater, still enjoys. So I genuinely enjoy the 16-bit soundtracks, and I ironically enjoy the butt rock Sonic songs from the more modern Sonic games.
Live and Learn is the song of all time. That's it. It truly doesn't get better than Live and Learn in my brain. I want to say 6 years ago, I was I like Live and Learn, but ironically. And now I'm no, I just like this song. It's a good song. It's a catchy song. And I'm tired of trying to be ironic about it. I was ironic about my Sonic fandom a few years ago, and I got sick of it. It's fucking, life's too short to be cagey and weird about the things that you like. I really like Sonic the Hedgehog. I have always really liked Sonic the Hedgehog. And there's no point in me fucking beating around the bush about it. My partner and I dressed in matching Big the Cat and Froggy themed outfits. So I had a purple dress with the white and yellow accessories, and he had a green jacket with a frog tie. We weren't super over the top about it, but it was fun. It's really good. Sonic music's really good. I'm going to be arranging a lot of it for myself this year after this concert. I fucking tell you what.
Do they look? I am not familiar with. I was a Nintendo kid. I didn't have a Genesis, so I didn't really partake in a lot of Sonic unless I went over to my friend's house. The only song that I can remember is the
Chemical Plant Zone.
Not even. I am
No,
running
no.
out of. I am running out of oxygen. I am about to drown.
The most anxiety-inducing noise on the planet.
Yeah, man. It's like, oh
so
shit.
what's
Like,
funny
hurry up and find a
is
bubble. Hurry up and find a bubble.
at intermission they put up like a thing on the screen that just tells you how much time is left, and in the last like 10 seconds of intermission they play that noise
Oh, that's
before the
awesome.
second
That's
half
what I wanted to
starts.
know.
That
That's what I
was-
wanted to know. I was like, do they play that? Like, if they play
Yeah.
that, then that is a perfect concert for me. That's
Yeah.
all my Sonic knowledge, music knowledge.
It's good.
I do wish that more video game symphonies for like these long standing franchises would do stuff like this more regularly, because really, like, to my knowledge, and Carrie, you can absolutely correct me if I'm wrong, the only ones who I feel like are regularly touring are the Sonic Symphony folks and the Distant Worlds folks. I don't know.
So
if
Distant
community
Worlds
on
has
that.
been the longest running run and has been the most regular one. And to the Distant Worlds creative team's credit, they do update that show basically every couple of years so that it's not the same set list over and over again. So I'm actually seeing Distant Worlds again this year. I'm seeing it in June because that's still touring.
I plan on it too. I think they're coming to DC in like August or September. So.
Yeah, they come through pretty frequently. Yeah, if you haven't seen Distant Worlds, go see it. They really cover the entire breadth of Final Fantasy music. That being said, you're almost guaranteed you're gonna hear One Winged Angel.
Yeah,
Like that's for fucking sure.
Micah and I and our significant others went to Distance Worlds. How long ago was that, Micah? Probably like close to
Oh my god,
9-10 years at this point.
Yeah.
It was
I
at
feel
least it was at least a decade, maybe
Yeah.
more.
And I'm excited just because when we went, my wife was did not really know a lot of Final Fantasy music, but now she'll probably know the catalog better than me, just because of her playing of Theater Rhythm and like how much she's been playing that. So that I think it'll be exciting for her to go now that she knows all of those tunes
Right.
backwards and forwards.
So Distant Worlds has been running since 2007, if you can fucking believe that. Now that being said, there have been other sort of like major franchise concerts that ran for a long time. Symphony of the Goddesses was that ran for 5 years. That ran from 2012 through the end of 2017. There was the Pokemon Symphony show that ran. I wish that would have run longer. I'm hoping maybe they bring that back for the 30th anniversary of Pokemon in a couple years here. But yeah, the Pokemon Symphonic Evolutions ran from 2014 through 2017, so we haven't seen that since then. But yeah, Distant Worlds has been around for a while. There was a Kingdom Hearts orchestra that was touring for a while. Again, I don't like Kingdom Hearts as a franchise, but the music in that series is really good, and I got to go and I got to meet Yoko Shimomura, so I consider that an absolute
I swear to
win.
God, if I go to Distant Worlds this year and they play any Kingdom Hearts songs, I'm gonna
No, they never do. They
stand up
never
and
do Kingdom
make
Hearts
them
at
tear
the.
refund my ticket.
No. They. I don't think they've ever done Kingdom Hearts at a Final Fantasy show.
I'm not shocked that this hasn't happened because it's Nintendo, but like I'm a little surprised that there's not like a Mario Symphony, because they're at this point like they could easily do a touring show.
Oh, they could absolutely, and they would sell out and make a fuck ton of money about it. They have done live Mario shows before. They've done these. It's generally been limited to Japan, unfortunately. They've done like a Mario big band show. They also did a Zelda big band show like 20 years ago. I want to say they did like a symphonic show for like Mario Galaxy right around the time that game came out, and they just did the Mario Galaxy soundtrack live. And of course, Mario Galaxy is a beautiful soundtrack, so like, you know, no qualms about that. But as far as the other stuff, you know, Sonic, again, like the streamed show for the 30th anniversary was in 2021, and they were like, and we're gonna do a tour, and then like pandemic shit and all that other stuff still going on. That really limited their ability to start that tour until towards the end of last year. So now they're touring that sort of through this year. There's a Stardew Valley tour that's going to be happening this year. I want to say that starts really within a couple months. I have tickets to see that in San Francisco in June as well. I'm actually doing Distant Worlds and Stardew Valley shows on back-to-back weekends, so that's going to be a good time for me. There have been others. As I mentioned, there was a Shin Megami Tensei show, and Shin Megami Tensei, the mainline Shin Megami Tensei games are far less popular than Sonic or even Persona, of course. But they did this show at like Anime Expo last summer, and that was meant for like the 30th anniversary of the Megaten franchise. So, my partner was fortunately able to go to that. And the vibe of that was almost like, oh, well, like maybe if this does really well, maybe we'll try doing this as a tour too. So I would love to see the Shin Megami Tensei show at some point. In Japan, they've done Shin Megami Tensei concerts, I want to say almost every single year, and they do Persona concerts every year too. So I would love to see some of those come over to the States as well. I mean, in Japan, they do these like big video game franchise orchestral and even rock shows like fairly frequently. So I think finally, particularly over the last few years, you've seen a lot of these shows, like the Shin Megami Tensei show. There's a Monster Hunter Symphony that they've done many times that they sell like streaming tickets for now, where like anyone, regardless of where you are in the world, you can pay, the fucking pay-per-view fee basically to watch these shows online.
It's not the same though.
And
it's not the same.
It's not the same, but I want to say that like it kind of feels like more and more of these shows are doing these streaming tickets, and I have to imagine that a lot of the people who like own the rights to these are seeing how many of these tickets are being bought by people in the United States and are probably going, I wonder if we should bring this over there and do this live over there too. So I am cautiously optimistic about that sort of thing. Plus you have so many independent video game orchestras, run by fans such as myself. You've got the Baltimore Gamer Symphony Orchestra, you've got one in New Jersey, you've got one in DC, you've got one in Reno, Nevada, you've got multiple in California. They're literally all over the place now. So clearly the demand is there, the demand is tangible. So I really do genuinely hope that more franchises really start to see this as something that they can sort of do on a more regular basis. Anyway, Sonic Symphony ripped, and go see it.
I would, if a Monster Hunter show came around, I would absolutely go to that. And also it would be cool to see Square do like the non-Final Fantasy concert. Like, hey, what if we do a concert for all of our other games that aren't Final Fantasy but still have like notable scores? I would even sit through a Kingdom Hearts song or 3 if they did such a thing. So just to be there for the stuff that I actually want to
again watch. As I said, I'm not a big Kingdom Hearts fan remotely at all, but I had a lot of fun at the Kingdom Hearts Symphony when I saw that a few years ago. I did get to meet Yoko Shimomura, but I had her sign my copy of Radiant Historia for the 3DS because she did the soundtrack for that too. Everyone else was just like having them sign, Kingdom Hearts soundtracks, and I was just like, oh, I really like this game nobody else but me played. The soundtrack rips.
So I gotta tell you guys, if you have a backlog, putting it in an Excel spreadsheet and trying to actually like optimize your way through it is actually really effective. I've cleared 9 games off of it so far, and I'm making good progress through a lot of other ones. I've been slowed down a little bit because I'm playing a shitload of Against the Storm still, and Octopath Traveler, I am in the home stretch. I am now at the last chapter of every character, and I'm sufficiently leveled to finally start tackling this. I'm looking forward to finishing those up. Something else that I've been playing is something that flew by my radar, but again, I came back around because listening to Game of the Year conversations put this back on my radar, and so I finally checked it out, and when Hitman World of Assassination was on sale, I bought it a few months ago, and I'm finally getting down into it because back in January, when they bundled everything together and they turned Hitman 3 into World of Assassination, and so basically now, like, if you buy this one game, you get access to all the other games in the series beyond it. Like, you don't have to own Hitman 1 or 2 anymore. You get to play all of their content. They also added a new mode in the game called Freelancer. Okay. And Freelancer is literally Hitman, but it's a roguelike. And it completely reinvigorates the game. So the way it works is, you know, Agent 47, you're actually hunting down an organization called the Syndicate. No, this is not a Mission Impossible themed DLC. and essentially each the syndicate, you have to kill 4 of the syndicate's bosses to win the mode. But to find the bosses, you have to play before each boss level. You have to play 2 other stages, and these are all randomized. And so you play 2 play 2 random Hitman locations, and then the syndicate level is a 3rd Hitman location. Again, they're pulling from all of the locations that already exist in these 3 Hitman games, and you have a randomized loadout as far as like what items and weapons they give you before you go in, and you can procure other weapons on site, obviously, but what you go in with is a mixed bag. And when you return back to home base between missions, if you have any guns or any items with you, you can store them for future runs if you don't want to take them on the next run. But anything that you have on you when you get killed is gone forever. Like there's no way to just be able to pick from a full arsenal at any given time unless you're really good at the game and you've been able to save all these guns. The thing that's cool about it is that your targets in each level are completely randomized among all the people that currently exist in the level. So, like in the main game, you have a priority. You have priority targets who you can follow, who are notable people, who you're trying to track their patterns and try to find opportune times to kill them. Your target in Freelancer mode could be just in the normal game, what's a random NPC just kind of standing around, mulling around, kind of doing their job, because that's a hidden syndicate member, and you have to get them. So it completely changes how you have to approach the game, because you're not always handed these like optimal kill scenarios like you do, with the characters in the main run. You have to really improvise and kind of think on your feet as you go. And then when you do the actual like syndicate boss missions, the game identifies 4 possible targets as who could be the syndicate boss, and you have to gather intel to actually narrow it down to who the actual enemy is that you have to assassinate and then get out of the level in order to progress the game. It's really fun. I'm not an enormous Hitman fan anyway, but playing the game like this is very appealing to me. It's also really difficult, so like I might need to actually burn through the story of the other Hitman games just to get my assassination chops up to snuff before tackling some of these missions, because again, like, it's one thing to go after the priority targets that you can have all this intel towards. It's another thing to, like, again, when a busboy is chilling outside on a break with another busboy and he's your priority target, and you're trying to figure out a way to kill that dude without killing the other guy, because that'll dock you negative points, and you want to try to execute the mission as effectively as possible. It's tough. It's a tough game mode, but it's also really fun. And if you're someone who exhausted that Hitman content when it originally came out and haven't really touched the game since then, it's a fantastic way to get back into it. And it's free. Like, it's just part of the fucking game. Like, if you own Hitman 3 or Hitman World of Assassination, Freelancer mode is just in there. It's just another thing that you can do inside of what is turned into like one of the best values, one of the best value packages really in gaming. Who'd have thought that the Hitman series would be where it is today after so many mid games from like the 2000s and early aughts.
Quite the evolution.
Nice,
especially
good
with especially with like a main character that is just the stock like bald white man suit.
Well, that's the joke, right? is that he can be anybody.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad Hitman Rogue Nation is good.
It is. It is. We're going to take one last break. We will go into the post office and then read your questions. All right. So first question, again, we're dipping back into last week's bucket as well, since we didn't finish it. So T-Wash says, "Hey, Dense Pixels crew, I've got a story for you to start off the year. Have you heard of the Kickstarter board game Catalyka that was stopped because the son harass
thing
the
in the
creator.
sky.
Yeah, Soul. Harass the creator. There was an update by the game creator explaining the stop. First, she says it failed because an evil plant cult that worships the sun stopped her, called the Green. Why, you ask? Well, because she's part of the Pink tribe with the role of the fair huntress who hunts and eats the green people. Why does she hunt and eat the green? Because the green people use the sun to get powers and put woke and sexual ideologues into people's heads, with them being part plant. It isn't cannibalism, but veganism, and okay, racism knows no bounds. So I looked into this Kickstarter project. So this was an early Kickstarter project from like 2010.
Yeah, I peeped this as well.
Yeah.
There's some fucking wild shit with this.
Right. So for those who weren't around back in what I dubbed the Wild West days of Kickstarter, Kickstarter used to not be quite the surety that it kind of is today. A lot of projects like just failed when like they would fund, but then they would fail to execute. Because people had no concept of what it actually takes to produce something, essentially. Right. And this was one of those where this woman got, I think, like something around like 60 or 80 backers to this like board.
85 backers, raising $7,800.
Okay,
so a fair bit of money.
Right. So for this board game that she created, and the game, you know, I followed some of the updates. I went back to look at some of the updates for the project, and the game struggled to get off the ground because she didn't realize, like, you know, Kickstarter obviously takes their cut of the fucking funding that comes through, and she just didn't understand like the cost to produce such a thing. And so it took her several years to even, you know, produce the games. And then some people, like, she offered like this other game that she backed on Kickstarter instead, and it's this whole rigmarole. But what the stories that T-Wash was quoting, like if you read the last couple project updates, he is not like exaggerating. This is a person who has severe mental illness and is not receiving any kind of real life support for it. You know, she's completely delusional. You know, just talking and talking and talking, just all sorts of stuff. Ultimately, this is a story that I just find unfortunate for a lot of reasons. I think it's unfortunate that people backed a game that, you know, maybe had some potential to be good and whatnot. I find it unfortunate that this person who, you know, just looking at the materials, you know, this is a person who had, you know, good ideas and like really good artwork, a very unique style to this game and whatnot. But again, clearly addled with delusions and many layers of mental illnesses that I really hope they get some help for, because ultimately the people who spent money on this did not get what they paid for, and yeah, it's just unfortunate all around. Yeah, so definitely a little wild, but yeah, Kickstarter a bit of a different place than it was back in that day. I will say for sure. So Film Wanderer asks, will Mercedes be on par with Red Bull in 2024? I don't know. It's always hard to say this far out. Preseason testing is still a month away for F1. Really, like if you go by results at the end of the season last year, Mercedes might McLaren might actually be the one to try to challenge Red Bull. I still think they'll be far afield of everybody this coming season, though. But we'll see. F1 is just around the corner, everybody, and I could not be more excited. Mark asks, of the known releases for 2024, what has the potential of being the biggest flop and the biggest surprise hit? So allow me to posit a question to the two of you before we answer this question, because you could arguably use the same game for both criteria, but only if you think that a game that we think is going to be shit, if that can be considered a flop, since it still could fail commercially. And I know that, and we're talking about, of course, Suicide Squad's Kill the Justice League.
I think that's going to flop hard. No, my pick for flop was going to be Skull and Bones. Just because
I have zero expectations for that game, and I'm pretty sure Ubisoft does too at this point. I can't imagine.
I mean, keeping in mind that like this game has been in delays for 5 years,
longer than that. I mean, remember this? I think wasn't this game? Well, didn't development start on this game like after Assassin's Creed 4? came out, and that was like 2013.
Maybe it's just been continually pushed back over the last 5 years. Comes out in February, presumably. I don't know. I don't think there's this like chomping at the bit for pirate bullshit that there was 5 or 6 years ago, right? I think a lot of the people who may have been chomping at the bit for pirate bullshit probably played Sea of Thieves, which apparently is pretty fucking fun if you have a good group of people to play it with.
So fun, in fact, that Microsoft is planning to release it on PlayStation and Nintendo in the coming months. So
cool.
Yep.
Are we considering a flop like I don't know, man. I'm looking at a list. You know, the only thing that I'm a little bit wary of is Star Wars Outlaws. Just because it's a Ubisoft game.
That's fair.
And it's massive entertainment.
Honestly, that's like probably the one. Like that's probably the one, because it's going to come out. They announced it's going to come out at the back end of the year. It's going to come out amidst a lot of competition. I think there's going to be a lot of people who like the Jedi Survivor games. And
this is not going to be
this is not going to be that. And to your point, Micah, this is going to be your traditional Ubisoft open world, tons of shit to do on a map, like it's going to be one of those. And we have plenty of those.
It's been made by the people that made The Division, right? And I know The Division has its fans, but I don't know, man. Like, it's a Ubisoft game, dude. Like, I mean, they make their open world games are just cartography simulators. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's it. I think that's the one that has the potential to be like the biggest fucking flop, especially because really because of that license. Like, if it was just a generic ass like Ubisoft game, all right, fine. I wouldn't have any expectations for it. But you put that license on it, people are going to have a certain expectation, especially like you said, because of the Jedi games, the Jedi Survivor, the Redhead games. So,
the Redhead.
I honestly it would not at all surprise me,
or something like that.
Yeah, it would not at all surprise me. This isn't really in the scope of the question, but we just talked about Skull and Bones, which I think it's a sunk cost. Like, they're just going to recoup what they can from that game at this point. I don't think that they're expecting much. And then that with Mike, I totally agree with you. I think Outlaws probably is the one to be earmarked for the biggest flop of the year. I think Ubisoft could potentially go into 2025, maybe looking for an out in some ways. Looking for someone to open.
I think here's the thing. I think both of those games are likely to fucking bomb commercially. They could both be critically great, but I don't think either of them are going to do particularly well commercially. So it wouldn't surprise me if Ubisoft ends the year being like,
and again,
can someone buy us out, please?
Surprise hit, I think, surprise. So the problem with surprise, like, there's two types of surprise hits. There's games that you think are going to be shit that are actually good, and then there's games that come out of nowhere that are amazing. The problem with the games that come out of nowhere is that they come out of nowhere, so you can't like predict them going into it.
I think my two picks for like big surprise hit are going to be Princess Peach, Superstar, whatever it's called, and Metaphor ReFantazio, which is the not Persona game from the team that did Persona 5.
I'm looking at my wish list to see. Actually, you know what? I'll give you one. I think that among people who are looking forward to it, Hyper Light Breaker is probably gonna be really good. But I think that there's a possibility that game could reach a commercial mass that the first one didn't come close to. So I think there's a potential one to look out for.
That's sort of what I'm thinking with Metaphor ReFantazio, because I think by and large, like, a new IP in sort of like a niche genre, like, contemporary JRPGs, if not for the massive success of Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, I feel like this would probably have flown completely under the radar, but I think this, even this being a new IP, I think this is going to be boosted really hard by the fact that its creative team is the Persona 5 team. So
there you go. There's a couple good options for you. We will wrap it, or actually, hang on. Did I miss? Oh, here we go. Now
we've got
two more here.
Yeah.
J-Man says, now the great gaming year of 2023 is behind us. What games are you looking forward to testing out once the price drops or comes to Game Pass / PlayStation Plus? So what games did you miss from last year that you plan on picking up down the road, you two?
I don't fucking know, man. The two that would have been on my list were Persona 5 Tactica and Sonic Superstars, and my partner got me both of those for Christmas. So
my list here is so long because again it was a huge year in gaming, and there's a lot of games that I just didn't get to that I wanted to get to, but I just didn't have time that I think could possibly like if I had to do my rankings again, they probably would have ended up in my top 10, just based on the stuff I like. I really want to play RoboCop Rogue City because that game looks tremendously fun, and it looks like they understood the mission, essentially, the developers of that game. I'd like to play the new Hot Wheels Unleashed because I really like the first one, and I thought that was pretty good. I want to find my way to P5 Tactica, as long as Carrie says that it's legit. Once she plays through more of it, and probably the biggest one for me is I'm really excited to play Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, which is a new CRPG that came out in the 40k universe that has been getting rave reviews by people that have played it so far, and I didn't have time to fit that in at the end of the year because it came out like early December. So those are the ones that I'm looking forward to going back and checking out as the year progresses.
I like there's a couple that I kind of want to go back and check now that I'm actually looking at a list of things that came out last year. I want to play Dave the Diver. I've heard that's very fun. I do kind of want to play Cyberpunk now that Phantom Liberty's out. Everybody says
I need to get back into that too. I fell off of that after playing through the introduction. Now I need to play it properly.
Yeah, I kind of want to play that for sure. And Hi-Fi Rush. That was one where like that came out and I was like, I want to play that. And that was in fucking January of last year and I didn't play it. So I'm going to make time for that this year.
I'm a glutton for punishment. So I
True.
want to like Souls-like games, and I kind of want to try Lies of P.
Okay.
But that's got to be a real big, that's got to be a super discount, man. That might have
$20.
Yeah, that might even have to be a PlayStation Plus freebie.
Mike, they say it's more challenging than Bloodborne is potentially. So.
Oh, great.
But not as bad as Sekiro though. Not as bad as
Look,
Sekiro.
if as long as it's not as bad as Sekiro, I can get through it. I kind of want to play Alan Wake 2, right? But I don't want to buy it. I just want to see what the big deal is. And I kind of want to play Pizza Tower.
Pizza Tower is great, dude.
I played
awesome.
I played a demo. It's not for me. I downloaded the demo. It is not my jam, but it could be.
It's hard. It is deceptively hard. Because you load it up and you're like, wow, like the graphics are wild and like this gameplay is fucking wacky and the music's all over the place. That game is deceptively hard. I am not good at Pizza Tower. I did not get very far in Pizza Tower before being like, I'm done. But like I had a good time with what I did play. If you ever played like the old Wario games, like yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
That's very specifically what they tried to do was make a new Wario game.
Yeah, my issue with that is I'm losing patience. With a lot of things, especially with like wackiness. I'm old, man. I'm old. Don't get old. Don't do it if you can help it. Don't get old. But that's my big hang up, right? Like everyone says this game's great. I want to play it, but I feel like there's gonna be a bunch of bullshit that I don't think is funny. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's too much of that. That being said, it's a $20 game that I think is on sale for $10 pretty frequently. So maybe try and catch it on a Steam sale when it's on sale for $10, because that way, if you don't enjoy the wackiness,
Yeah,
then you'll
then
have
it's
only
just like
spent $10.
$10. Yeah.
Like, have you seen like gameplay, like actual like let's plays of RoboCop at all, as a fellow '80s cinema connoisseur?
I have not, but I do know, isn't it like a first person shooter?
It is, and again, like when I say that the developers understood the assignment, they understood the assignment.
So you can shoot people in the dick.
I mean,
no, like that RoboCop is fucking OP as shit. Like you're just you're trundling through the levels, just fucking one-shotting people with your fucking burst fire pistol. Like you don't even need to pick up any other weapon if you don't want to, because the gun that RoboCop has is so good. And basically, like even at early levels of the game, like when you target somebody, like because it's fucking RoboCop, like the sights like snap to the person essentially, and it's very, very fun apparently.
Apparently it's getting very, very good reviews.
Yeah.
Look, man, I love RoboCop, and I can't believe we grew up in an era, Brad, where fucking RoboCop, the original RoboCop had merchandise for children.
A Saturday morning cartoon show, no less, as well,
right,
in the late '80s,
right,
that I watched.
Jesus.
And I had the RoboCop cartoon squad car with RoboCop action figure.
Amazing.
Despite the fact that I did not see the movie when I was a kid, I was like, bro, man, RoboCop seems awesome.
Yeah, it's just like this.
RoboCop for the Game Boy, with one of the greatest Game Boy soundtracks of all time, too.
All right, I'm gonna check out RoboCop.
Yeah, like I'm waiting for it to go. Like it was on sale like for like $30 over the Steam Winter Sale, and I just wasn't ready for it yet. But it will go on sale again, and I will eventually play it because yeah, it's like I said, when I saw the gameplay and I saw how the game just operates. Like I'm just like, oh, they get it. Okay, cool. Like that was my big concern, is I was just worried that like RoboCop was gonna be like this fast, like Twitch shooter. No. They're like, no, you are RoboCop, and you in every way. And like it's apparently like between missions, like they have this like Deus Ex style like hub world where you actually have to go like serve the community as RoboCop. So you do these like weird like side missions you can do. Like one of them's like, you know, the person at the police station is like overworked at the desk, so you sit at the desk for and handle the complaints from a couple citizens, and you have to decide like how to handle them and stuff like that. Like it is a RoboCop game through and through. Yes,
I have a question. Do you get to beat the shit out of Red Foreman in this game?
Well, it takes place canonically after RoboCop 2. So unfortunately, no. Clarence Boddicker is very dead in this. But they did the very smart thing and completely forgot about the RoboCop 3. So we live in a world. Yes, we live in a world where Nuke still exists, but RoboCop 3 thankfully does not. So that's a big plus there.
Look, man, as long as it doesn't take place in the Joel Kinnaman RoboCop universe, they're doing something right. Because
Micah, they got everybody. Like Peter Weller's doing the voice, and they got the likenesses for like the captain and for Lewis, and you know, it's all fun. That like there's obviously like there's another asshole guy from OCP who's basically running like the RoboCop program, so you get that classic trope back in the mix again. It's fantastic.
Man, I kind of want to watch RoboCop now, man.
Again,
a great movie.
Top 5 action movie of all time, and probably the smartest action movie of all time. Carrie, you've at least seen RoboCop, haven't you?
Yes. Okay. I like RoboCop. I have seen RoboCop. I enjoyed RoboCop. I have done a cover of the RoboCop theme for Game Boy, which I actually just posted in the Discord, which uses clips and samples from the film. Yeah. No, RoboCop is a very smart movie. It's satire basically. And I think a lot of people who watch RoboCop don't realize that it's satire. But no, I enjoy OG RoboCop quite a bit. I have not seen RoboCop 2, but Maybe I'll treat myself.
Not as good as the first. Not as good as the first.
Like most 80s action films, the first one's great, and then the second one is like, this is fun.
Yeah, it's not as good as the first, but it's still entertaining. Do not, under any circumstances, watch RoboCop 3.
Okay, so I'm definitely gonna watch RoboCop 3.
Yes, there are ninjas in RoboCop 3. RoboCop has a jetpack in RoboCop 3. Stephen Root plays like this skeevy like underground rebel leader in RoboCop 3. RoboCop 3 is awful. It is a terrible film.
Cool, can't wait.
we still maybe this is the year that we get that proposed show off the ground where we watch 80s action movies with you.
We need to do exactly. There's so many I haven't seen because my parents were a little too old for those when. So look, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
This is fucking hilarious. I'm looking at the gameplay video of it, and he's just walking along, just fucking blowing people's
just murking dudes.
Off.
Yeah.
God,
there's apparently a level where you're foiling a bank heist, and like it's literally a competition like between you and the OCP cop guys as far as who can kill more people, but it's literally like you against the entire police force.
Incredible.
With Ed 209's like in tow, essentially.
Oh my god.
So final question from Johnny. What is your big FOMO moment of 2023? What made you fall into temptation and or buyer's remorse?
Fucking Starfield.
Yeah, it's a really. I still haven't finished that game, man.
I barely got into it at all, and a lot of the big reason is that it really runs like shit on my computer, and I've got a really good computer, and it runs like shit on my computer. Now I live in a house that has a Series X, where it apparently runs much better on a Series X because it's optimized for Series X. So I may give it another go, but like I bought that at full price on day one, and I didn't get hooked into it the way that I really thought I was going to, because I'm a big simp for Bethesda.
I mean,
and I gave Daddy Todd another $70 of my hard-earned money.
Is it FOMO when you buy a game or like when you get a game on day one because of the preview coverage, or is it FOMO like when a game comes out and people are talking about it and you're like, oh shit, I've got to jump into this?
I think it can be both.
Because I don't have buyer's remorse, but like, but a very like FOMO for Baldur's Gate 3 was through the roof. Like in the weeks leading up to that game coming out, people started talking about that like it was the second coming of the Messiah, and I'm like, I've never played a CRPG before, but I gotta play this. Like if people say is this amazing, and I'm glad I did. Like it was my fucking game of the year last year. So like I have no buyer's remorse, but that's the most FOMO inducing moment for me, I would say.
That's fair.
Micah doesn't have FOMO because he just buys everything and plays everything.
That's my thing, man. Like I have a lot of buyer's remorse, but if I see something, I'll just get it. And it was because I was it's because I wasn't allowed to have every fucking video game that I wanted as a child, and now as an adult, much like anyone who was prevented from having something in their youth, I buy it to excess, and it's a bit of a problem.
And honestly, your last FOMO moments ended up working out swimmingly for you, because remember you were the one that was asking every week, like, should I buy Elden Ring? Should I buy Elden Ring? And we were like, yes, buy Elden Ring. And you're like, man, oh man, 150 hours.
Yeah, I fucking love that game, man. Goodness gracious.
I still haven't finished that game, but maybe someday. I'm at Malekith, and been at Malekith since like February last year. I did beat Millennia.
Here's the thing with From games. Like I feel like with From Software games, like you don't need to beat the game. Like I think the goal of a From Software game is just to feel sated. And I think that if you feel sated by the experience, then you don't have to. I beat
Millennia Blade of Mikola twice, so I consider myself pretty fucking sated as far as Elden Ring is concerned.
There you go.
I do want to beat it at some point, but I'm not trying to get my ass turned inside out.
The endings in From games are always anticlimactic. Like you don't need to see the ending; it doesn't matter.
but I did everything for Ronnie. I did all the bullshit for Ronnie.
Micah will tell you the
walking.
end of Elden Ring, I'm sure, is just a small cutscene and nothing too grandiose.
It's fine. It's very esoteric. Like Brad said, it's the experience. It's you know, it's the experience of fighting that last boss, the Beast, I think is the name of the boss. And quite frankly, I had way more fun fighting Millennia than the final boss. So, but look, don't get me wrong. Like I got a platinum in that game. Like it was fucking great. But at the same time, like it's all about that's a vibes game, man.
It is a vibes game.
And this was a vibes podcast. I think that's a perfect place to end the show. So, again, to support us financially, densepixels.com/Amazon, densepixels.com/premium. Thank you all very much for watching and listening this week, and we will see you all the next time.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.